So, Bloody Fields of Mollwitz, 10th day, 4th month, 1741. Game by Stratagemata. Designed by, let's see if I can get his name quickly, and Slavomir Lukasik. Oh, 2016. I knew it was a recent game. I didn't realize it was even that recent. A little bit of commentary. Just a little bit of commentary. I think I might, well, I am thinking that I'm going to have to take a break from this game and come back to it. In no particular order. These are just things that came up. First of all, I thought, when I first read the rules, I thought they were going to be no problem. But actually, as I tried to use them, there were problems. Two things. Maybe not enough consistency of terms, consistency in the use of terms, and maybe even more important, it looks like there are some missing points that probably should be spelled out. So that was a bit of a difficulty. So what I tried to do twice I tried to start the introductory scenario, and I had the Austrian left cavalry, mixture of dragoonier and cavalry, regular cavalry, I guess you could say, charge the Prussian right. Twice. So first time, things didn't look right, so I started over. So this time I charged, and I said, okay, let's get right into it. So I wanted the Prussians to countercharge. So the first thing is the counterchargers become the attackers. So basically, so what does that mean? I guess the counterchargers, I should say the counterchargers that pass a morale check, I think, become the attackers, which in game terms makes them the chargers. So the first thing I was thinking is, what does this stream here, do they call it a stream? What does this, I did find it. Well, I thought I found it. Small river? No. Stream. No, stream. So there's stream and there's stream, small river in the undergrowth. I assume that that's this one here. So there's a small river, which is on that side of the map. There's a small river in undergrowth. Then there's a stream. All right, that's a stream in undergrowth. And then here's stream. So first I thought, what does this stream in particular do to the charge? And when I saw that it was 1.5 movement points for cavalry in line, I thought, actually, never mind, that's fine. I was thrown off. All right, never mind. So in effect, it doesn't do anything. Well, I did wonder what it does to the charge. I didn't find anything, so therefore, I was thrown off by. I misread the table, but so therefore, I'll say, okay, it doesn't do anything to the charge, which is okay. I mean, certainly looking at it, I would think it shouldn't do anything to the charge, to charging cavalry. This has got to be a tiny, line of groundwater. Okay. So there was that. They countercharge. First of all, I guess they have to pass a morale check to countercharge. Okay. But when they fail, they take a morale hit. That one took a morale hit. This one took a morale hit. These ones successfully countercharged. These ones successfully countercharged. And this one successfully countercharged. But these guys did not, and they took a morale hit, which is okay. I'm thinking, that's funny. I'm talking this through, and actually this isn't as bad as I thought it was. But that's a good thing, okay? The first thing I noticed is, oh, these are real morale hits, which actually I like. This is not a morale hit that acts like a strength loss. Now, I will say one thing about that, though, is there are a few cases where you do take a strength loss. And I think one of those is taking 3 or more of these morale hits in the same, I think it's the same activation. So the point being that if a unit like this one starts this activation already having 1 morale hit, I think you're going to want to keep a separate tally with a separate marker for the current activation, because again, if it goes to 3 or more, I think it immediately takes a strength hit, which I think is flipping it over. Anyways, I didn't get that far, and I'm more concerned about the morale hits than the strength loss, because it looks to me like the morale hits are way more dynamic and way more involved than the strength losses. Okay, so basically I figured, oh, this is different than, well, this is different than I think of other games maybe that look like this. These cavalry back here, as the Austrian cavalry is charging across the open field here, snow-covered field, that unit lost heart. And they didn't just lose heart in staying back here, they lost heart in taking a morale hit. Which again, I like that, but I wasn't expecting it at all. Okay, then they countercharge. And so let me move these guys. Here's the leader, that's fine. Here's the carabiner. So they took a morale hit in their melee. Yep. This guy wound up taking 2 morale hits. This guy 1 hit. So a lot of morale hits. And the defenders, I think the defenders, just to make this clear, the defenders could have taken hits, but they did not. They did not take any hits. None. So the Austrian cavalry generally, if not entirely here, looks like they have 7 morale across the board, which is good. The Prussian cavalry have a 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Yeah, their cavalry looks like their cavalry has morales of 5. So it is a Prussian cavalry force with morale 5 against an Austrian cavalry force with a morale of 7. So that should be a factor in the discrepancy between losses here. Of course, they're all morale losses. There were no strength losses here. But, okay, and when I read the rules early on, I saw that melee was handled with basically alternating morale checks, which I thought sounded pretty darn cool. Did I just say that? Resolving melee attacks. So attacker first morale check phase, defender morale check phase, attacker second morale check phase. I went through this, and by the way, that was a very vague, very short section on countercharge, and it's called detailed rules. Wasn't much help. By the way, there should have been. I took them off, and then I realized maybe I shouldn't. I mean, I think these should all be covered in. And what about the guys who failed their morale check? Should they have reaction markers on them? looks to me like you would quickly run out of reaction markers, by the way. And by the way, I think I'm supposed to have reaction markers on the targets as well. This just doesn't look right. But it's vague. I never found out. I mean, I kind of have I was kind of told when to put the reaction markers on. I didn't see where to take them off. But anyways, the morale checks sounded like a good idea. Then when I'm going through and actually executing it, I mean, there's supposed to be a melee combat procedure on the player aid card next to the melee combat modifiers. It looks like there's a standard modifier for defender +1, which is, by the way, is that a modifier to, if that's a modifier to the morale, that's good. If it's a modifier to the die roll, that's bad. But I mean, I don't know why you'd have a standard defender modifier anyways. And there's a standard attacker second morale test modifier of +1. Is that supposed to be good or is that supposed to be bad? And after I figure out whether this is good or bad, why is it good or bad? I don't know. See, this is what I mean by what I was doing as I went through this procedure. It wasn't clear to me what I was doing and why, and that's not good for me. That's not good for me. Yeah. Momentum modifier. Do I get a momentum modifier because some of these ones, because some of the cavalry have the star, the star in the lower left? I thought there was supposed to be a modifier marker too. I looked for one, didn't find one. Why? Because it says modifier on count. Oh, once again, unless they mean modifier on counter, meaning that, well, that's still misleading. Probably bad. I don't know. I can't even comment on translation, but if they mean modifier on counter, which isn't technically correct, if they mean according to the gold star on the counter, okay, but of course I took it to mean that there's an actual momentum marker that has the modifier on it, which is why I was looking for that. Then, well, no, I guess that's it. See, I went through the procedure and it never clicked, and I never understood what I was doing, why I was doing it. And the reason why the the reaction markers matters because right after they're done, but it doesn't matter, even if, I mean, I was going to activate this formation anyways, but it actually doesn't matter. Later on in the turn, which in this case is next, are these guys moving again? Or are they done because they reacted during that phase, the Austrian phase? This is all the stuff I have to figure out for myself, and I have no problem doing it. I just wasn't ready for that. I thought this was going to go a lot smoother. Now I see. I guess I was wondering because these are almost all the reaction markers there is in the counter mix, and I was thinking if you wind up with both armies having like 75% of their force covered in these reaction markers, that can't possibly be. But I guess when I'm done activating this wing, when I'm done with this one right here, which by the way, I just decided I'd flip it over to show that it's activated. I don't know if you're supposed to do that or not. I guess when I show it's done activating, wait a minute. I thought when I was done activating it, couldn't I remove these reaction counters so I can use them elsewhere, right? But then I was thinking, well, wait a minute. Does that mean that if these guys had activated first and then another line of Austrian cavalry charged, I mean, can they countercharge or not? Because I never saw, I'll tell you, I never saw anything about to countercharge. Actually, I don't ever remember seeing in the rules anything about, you know, only unactivated units can do such and such. I don't ever remember seeing that, unless different wording is used. So that's what I mean. So if they're all done, that would have to be an assumption I would make, that they can't countercharge after they're done activating. So this is an example of, it is a great looking game, by the way. There's still a lot of interesting looking stuff here. There's definitely a lot of interesting looking stuff, but I think it's going to take quite a bit of I mean, I already went through a bunch of reading between the lines and filling in the blanks just with the setup. Just with the setup and the orders chits and the activation markers, not to mention figuring out the units. So I already went through that just to get it set up. And now it looks like to play it, I'm going to have to do a lot of interpretation, thinking things through and figuring out what makes sense. And again, let me just be clear at this point that it's something I will do, because there's still a lot of positive looking things here. But I wasn't expecting to put in this amount of tinkering at this point.